Well, good morning and a fine how do you do. I am currently in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. These bridges behind me are probably rather familiar, but I'm on the Susquehanna River. This is someplace I have wanted to be for a long time. I actually haven't been to this particular boat launch since, well, it's been 8 years. Have a good feeling about today. I might go upriver a little ways. I'm going to go down to fish behind the bridges. The water is a bit stained, probably about 2 foot, 2.5 foot of is, and yeah, it's still about a foot high. I've been waiting since pretty much March 30th for this to clear out because the water and the rain had just blown this thing. This thing was up over like 16 feet about 2 weeks ago, and it's taken that long after another rainstorm to come back down again. But I'm here for smallmouth. Smallmouth is definitely the name of the game today. Susquehanna is known for its smallmouth fishing, and that's what we're here for. I've got 2 days. I'm going to start the day here. If this doesn't work out, I'm going to zip a bit north and put back in another part of the Susquehanna River, perhaps as far north as Wilkes-Barre. If I do that, of course you will know, but we're going to start off. I'm going to go downstream. I'm going to fish some of these seams behind some of the rocks. Don't know what the water temperature is. I don't have the graph on the boat right now because I'm in a river. I typically don't put a graph on if I'm in a river. But the air temperature is 38 degrees right now. It is April 21st. I'm kind of surprised it dropped back down again because last week we had 80-something degree temperatures. So it's going to be an adventure either way. This river is running. I got spot lock on the trolling motor right now, and it's probably running at about half speed, but I got both batteries with me for this trip. They're both hooked up in parallel, so I should have plenty of juice to fish today. And maybe tomorrow, if I'm going to go another place, might just take the trolling motor off and whatever. We'll deal with that when we need to deal with that. But I'm going to head back here to these bridges, and I'm going to start throwing chatterbait, and I'm going to see if I can get something to smack it. Whoa. Stop it, stop it, f***ing stop it. So I'm not gonna lie, running down there, way too sketch right now for me. This thing can push this kayak along fully loaded at about 4.5 miles an hour, and I had it maxed out heading straight ahead. Good morning, Mr. Heron. And it was literally not moving. So I'm not going to be going down there. I'm not going to be fishing down that way. Oh, guess I didn't disturb the heron too much at all. He just landed close again. Nice. So I'm rethinking the plan here. If things get any more sketch, or because I just don't have the power with this kayak to run up the river right now. This thing's running way too fast. And again, this is only a foot above normal. That's what's silly about this. It is only a foot above normal. So I may have to start rethinking my plans for the day. My backup plan is actually about 2 hours away, about 2.5 hours away. So if that's what has to be done, that's what has to be done. I'm not too worried about that. It does not bother me in the least. But either way, we're gonna have a good time. But never, ever, ever have a good time at the expense of safety. That's quite literally the dumbest thing you can do. But I'm just tucking in close to the bank on these spots that don't have much current. And I'm gonna see what happens. I'm not gonna waste a whole heck of a lot of time here just because, again, it's I'm not gonna waste time on something that ends up being dangerous. Fruitless, I don't care. Dangerous, I'm not into doing dumb stuff on a kayak yet. I've almost dumped myself already this morning when my spot lock decided to spin me around at full speed. Yeah, I don't want to go in this water because, again, the air temperatures are below 40 degrees, and 40 degrees outside with water temps that are probably in the low to mid 50s right now. I'm not too keen on that combination, even though I do have a change of clothes in the truck, and the truck is literally right around that corner. I don't want to risk anything to that degree. It's not smart. And it's a lot windier than it was supposed to be, which is another demerit against this whole debacle right now. But again, we're gonna make the most of it. We're gonna stay safe. That's a white phase blue heron. Huh. No, that's an egret. A lot smaller. Same family, but smaller. Alright. Now I got this thing at full crank again. And not really doing much. Stopped beneath the spillway here at the dam at Raystown Lake and managed to tick off species number 4 on my list for the year. This is a tiny, tiny, tiny little brown trout. I barely felt him hit. Okay, so obviously it is another day. And I was going to include that in part of, the bigger episode I got coming up, but I decided, I'm going to split this off and kind of take it as a bit of a moment of reflection and realize that things could have ended very differently. Now, I try and keep safety number one in mind at all times. No questions about it. I won't do anything if the risk outweighs the reward at all. And I kind of got onto the water under the wrong impressions, because right there at the ramp, the water didn't look too swift. It looked okay. It was moving slower, and I'd seen a couple boats get launched there while I was getting my stuff together, and everything was okay. They weren't drifting downstream too terribly quick, and for the first couple hundred yards downstream, I really wasn't moving very quickly at all. But when it got shallower and the rocks started becoming more common, it funneled the current into smaller and smaller areas. So that's when the water speed picked up, and I didn't realize this until it was almost too late. So, looking back now, I can use that as another data point, like I'm always talking about data points, to learn to read the water a little bit better, and don't just trust the gauge heights and stuff like that because that's what I use. I use the U.S. Geological Survey water data tables to get my predictions, get my water readings for where I'm going to be going to. I check that early and often. Just like I have, I use an app called Tides Near Me, and I use Wind Finder and Windy. Those are 2 more apps. I try and keep as many weather and safety things in mind before I go out and do anything. So you never know exactly what's going to happen until you get there. And yes, I know that. And I kind of risked it a little bit because I'd driven, 2.5 hours to get where I was going. And I was so excited to be there after, 7 or 8 years that I wanted to get on the water and just see what I could do. So, yeah, I'm not taking my own advice there. I kind of made a silly decision in that regard, but not going to do that again. I will be going back up to the Susquehanna River at some point, probably late June through August. I'll be going up there a couple times because starting in a couple days on May 1st, there's a moratorium on any smallmouth fishing whatsoever. If I do go up there again, it's just going to be to target flathead catfish or just catfish in general. But just I want to take this opportunity to say, make sure you're safe when you're going on the water. Don't do anything that you feel is, unsafe. The second I felt like things were going a little bit squirrely, it was almost too late for me. Now, one way or another, I was going to get back to the boat launch. If I had to drag that kayak and all my gear straight up some random bank and then, walk down, grab my cart and wheel it back up through some side streets and hopefully not somebody's yard, I would have done that. I would have found a way to get that safely off the water and get everything else. But, if you're out there, I don't care if it's a gorgeous day, bluebird skies, not a breath of wind, glass calm. If you're on a kayak, wear your life preserver, your PFD. Make sure it fits. Don't have one that's going to ride up on you in the event that you do get dunked into the water. Even on, nicer days, try and keep a spare change of clothes in the vehicle. Make sure you have rain gear nearby. That's going to come into play here in a couple videos I got coming up. But just be safe. Don't take any undue risks. Things could have ended very differently. There's always an off chance, and unfortunately people do lose their lives on the water every single year. And it can be in any kind of condition. Sometimes there's just accidents, and sometimes things just go squirrely way too quick. And it's a risk we take to enjoy the things that we like to do. So just weigh your options. Nothing is worth losing your life over. I don't care how much fun you plan on having. I don't care how anything else goes. There's always tomorrow, to try things again. There's always the next time. You just got to be able to put your ego in your back pocket and make the mature decision from time to time. So, took a risk. It almost bit me, but it turned out okay. But at the end of the day, I still managed to drive over to my next place and fish a little bit below the dam at Raystown Lake. So Raystown Lake is actually the stuff I got coming up in the next couple videos. But you'll have to wait, tune in next time for that again. So that's all I got for you today. But like I always say, thanks again for watching. Make sure you find a reason to smile today, and I'll catch you in the next one.